Here's a bug that compiles perfectly, passes every test, and still ships broken. You pass a userId into a function expecting an orderId. Both are strings. TypeScript shrugs and says, fine. This is primitive obsession. And it's responsible for a frightening number of production incidents. Today we fix it permanently with branded types, the closest thing TypeScript has to nominal typing, and we do it with zero runtime cost. TypeScript is structurally typed. That means two types are compatible if their shapes match. Names don't matter. A userId that's just a string is interchangeable with any other string. So the compiler can't tell a user identifier from an order identifier, an email, or a raw query parameter. This flexibility is usually a feature, but in your domain layer, it's a liability waiting to bite you. Languages like Java, C#, and Rust use nominal typing. There, a type's identity is its name. Two distinct types are never compatible even if their internals match. That's exactly what we want for IDs. The question is, how to get nominal behavior inside a structural type system? The answer is a trick called branding. Here's the foundational trick. We intersect a primitive with an object carrying a phantom property, a brand. That property never exists at runtime. It's purely a compile time marker. Because userId now carries a unique brand and orderId carries a different one, the compiler treats them as incompatible. A plain string no longer satisfies userId either, which is exactly the wall we want. Now watch the compiler do its job. A raw string can't be assigned to userId because it lacks the phantom brand, and a userId can't slip into a function expecting orderId because the brand strings differ. The bug from scene 1 is now a compile error. This is the entire payoff. Primitive obsession caught at build time, not in production. So how do we actually produce a userId? We can't just assign a string. We need a constructor. The simplest form is an assertion cast wrapped in a function. This is the one controlled place where we promise the compiler, trust me, this string is a userId. Everywhere else, the brand stays sealed. Centralizing the cast in one function is the whole discipline. A bare cast trusts the caller blindly. But the real power comes when the constructor also validates. This is the smart constructor pattern. The only way to obtain a branded email is to pass through code that actually checks the format. If validation fails, you throw or return a result type. Now the brand isn't just a label, it's a guarantee. Holding an email means it was validated, period. Throwing works, but in many code bases, you want errors as values. A discriminated union, OK or error, lets callers handle failure explicitly without try-catch. The branded type only escapes the function on the success path. This pairs beautifully with form validation and API boundaries, where invalid input is expected, not exceptional. Sometimes you want to narrow inside conditional logic. A user-defined type guard lets you check a string and have TypeScript treat it as branded inside the if block. Notice the return type. The special is syntax. After the guard passes, raw is an email for the rest of that scope. This is branding integrated with control flow analysis. Branding isn't just for strings. One of the most dangerous bugs in software is mixing units. That's literally what crashed a Mars orbiter. Brand your numbers as Celsius versus Fahrenheit or cents versus dollars, and the compiler stops you from adding incompatible quantities. The arithmetic still works on the underlying number. You just can't mix brands accidentally. Writing a constructor per type gets repetitive. Let's build a tiny factory. The make brand helper takes a validator and returns both a parser and a guard, fully typed. Now adding a new branded type, a positive int, a uvid, a slug, is a one-liner. This is the kind of utility you drop into a shared package and reuse across your whole monorepo. Here's the payoff. One call to make brand and we have a fully validated positive int with both a parser and a guard. The inferred return type carries the brand automatically. This pattern scales. Define your domain primitives once, import them everywhere, and never handwrite a cast again. Branded types compose with generics cleanly. Here, a generic repository keyed by a branded ID stays type safe end to end. The save method only accepts the right ID type, and find by id returns the matching entity. The brand flows through the generic parameter, so a user repository can never accept an order ID, even through abstraction layers. A common worry: do brands survive pick, partial, or record? Mostly yes, because they're just intersection types. Here, a record keyed by userId works, and partial of a branded field keeps the brand. The phantom property rides along through map types. The one place to watch is JSON serialization, which will hit next. Brands exist only at compile time, so JSON.parse hands you plain strings. The brand is gone. This is actually correct. Data crossing your boundary is untrusted and must be revalidated. The pattern is to pass incoming data through your smart constructors, rebranding as you validate. Libraries like Zod make this ergonomic with brand support built in. If you already use Zod, branding is nearly free. Zod's brand method attaches the phantom marker to the inferred type, so a parsed value is both validated and nominally distinct. You define the schema once and infer the branded type from it. This is the cleanest production setup as of 2026. Single source of truth, runtime check, plus compile time brand. Eventually, you must hand the raw primitive to a database driver or a logger. Since a branded user id is still a string at runtime, you can pass it directly. No unwrap needed. But for clarity, an explicit unwrap helper documents intent. The point is, you only cross back to raw at the edges. Deliberately, never accidentally. Branded types aren't the only way to get nominal safety. Opaque types hide the underlying representation behind a module boundary. Value objects wrap the primitive in a class with methods. Each has trade-offs. Brands are zero cost and ergonomic but leak the base type. Classes carry behavior but add allocation and break with structural cloning. Pick based on whether you need attached behavior or just identity. Let's see the impact in a real function. Before, the signature is for bare strings. Utterly swappable. A landmine for callers. After, every parameter is branded. Now the call site is self-documenting and the compiler enforces argument order and origin. Read the after version and notice you literally cannot misuse it. That's the whole pitch of branding in one screen. 2 practical warnings. First, never export the raw cast. Funnel all branding through validated constructors, or the guarantee erodes. Second, branding has a discoverability cost. Document your domain primitives so teammates know to use parse email, not a bare string. In Indian dev teams shipping fast, the win is fewer late-night production fixes from swapped IDs. Add it incrementally, starting with your most error-prone identifiers. Branded types give you nominal typing in a structural language, sealing primitive obsession at compile time. Combine the brand intersection with smart constructors so every branded value is also validated, and rebrand at your serialization boundaries. They cost nothing at runtime. The brand vanishes after compilation. Master this, and your domain layer becomes genuinely hard to misuse. So here are the 3 things to take away. 1. Branded types use a phantom property to give you nominal identity inside TypeScript's structural system. 2. Pair brands with smart constructors So the type itself guarantees validation and revalidate at every boundary. 3. There's zero cost at runtime because the brand only exists at compile time. Next up in the TypeScript track, watch our deep dive on building a fully type-safe result and error handling pattern, which pairs perfectly with branded parsing. If this sharpened your type game, subscribe and drop a comment with the worst ID swap bug you've ever shipped. We'll see you in the next one.